Lovely car, good nick. Very well looked after. So this is the start of today's walk from Wellesbourne to King's Head. Under normal conditions it would be open, place to get a coffee, and you can have a room there. That room on the right there, looking out over the, unfortunately over the kitchen, but it's a great room inside. It's just that it's over the kitchen, and up till about 10 o'clock at night it's a bit noisy, but never mind. Normally you could get a coffee in there and you could do your bits and pieces, and this is what we're doing, starting the walk here, going through Wellesbourne Church, going down to a place called Calcott, and then do a walk round and back out. It's about 5 miles. I'm seeming to lose my enthusiasm a little bit, but I've got to keep out of this, at this. I had a good sleep last night, but I need to get, my get up and go has to get up and get going. Just put that there for a bit. My get up and go needs to get up and get going. And yeah, today is Tuesday, but I've done something every day. I feel a bit lethargic, but I need to keep on this because I've got to get to that plateau where it becomes the plateau of fitness, where I can keep going, and where this becomes the thing every day. This is taking all day. This is the sort of exercise that I should be doing. Last night I did a dark walk, late walk, doing 5 miles. I didn't really video anything, it was too dark when I started yesterday. But, you know, this is the sort of thing, 5 miles, sort of thing you should be doing in half an hour's run in the evenings or something. So I've got a long way to go. Just listen to the bells. Well, that's it anyway. Out for now. Nice little fence this. Nice little gateway. It's at the end. Just getting into Caldecott village. Look at this. Took me a while to work it out. Nice. Step over, let up. Yeah, there you go. Somebody's morning wasn't wasted coming up with that idea. Well, here we are in the town of Caldecott, and there's the entrance to the house, which is I don't know, I think it's Edwardian, but it's open. I think it's a National Trust place. There's a little bridge over the River Dean. We're going back that way later on. And this estate, they claim that William Shakespeare was caught poaching on this. It's a bit of a deer park. There are some deers in there. But it's just basically the house. I've not been in there, I've been over here lots of times. It's quite popular. It's very popular, even in the winter time there's people here. There's an area over to right here with cars and that, and there's a tea room, and there is also a bar and a hotel, which we'll come to in a minute. Yeah, so it's got, that's the house down there, Caldecott House, I think that's the name. There's a church up here, and it's a little village. I think an estate village, because it all looks pretty much the same. There's quite a few cars here, and there's quite a few visitors to it, so I don't know, there might be a real historical link other than the poaching story. There's a barn and all that. Doing something. And there we go. Car parks. And that's it for now. Yeah, it's a car park there, big car park. And there's quite a lot of people in there, about half full. This is a hotel. If you're going to do some walking and you want to come down this part of the world. Not been in there, so I can't say whether it's yay or nay to whether it's good or not. But there's a pub attached to it. It was open, it's completely closed now, but it was open for part of the shutdown. When they were allowed to bring people in for workers, but it's sort of not really. Yeah, they closed it down. They obviously didn't get wasn't worth them keeping it open. And then up the road here is the rest of the village. Behind me, to my left, is basically a lane leading down to a main road, which takes you into Stratford-on-Avon. It's the road from Wellesbourne to Stratford-on-Avon. The road I walked down was the road from Wellesbourne to Coldcut, and the little place around the corner, which we're going to later on. My hair is just annoying the hell out of me, blowing in my face all the time. And so that's it. We're going to go up there, turn to the left to go down. The other village is only about a mile down the road. Not even that. But that's it for now. Out. Here we have a seat. Not looking not looking exactly well looked after. But if you look at the sign there, Queen Elizabeth coronation 1953, older than me. That's actually a little bit of history. That should be cleaned up a bit. I wonder who's I wonder if it's the council, Stratford-on-Avon District Council. I might give them a bell, you know. Might give them a ring and tell them that the chair needs a bit of a thingy, a bit of a clean up. Yeah? This is the village, there's the houses there. The newer ones are obviously newer. But there's a couple of sets of cottages like that one opposite and further up the road here. So showing that they're built at the same time, estate cottages. And the little town goes up the road there, about a quarter of a mile or so, just houses on each side. I imagine if the house wasn't there, this would basically, there'd be no pub, there'd be no bar, there'd be nothing here at all. It'd be classed as a little hamlet. And the place down the road here on the left, which it says I think is half a mile, is Hampton Lacey, which I know has a pub because I've been in there before. I thought it had rooms at one time. I was trying to find it on a thing to stay there and try and get over there and do some walks from there, but it's a food pub, but not a B&B or an inn, a proper inn. So here we are. It's obviously an add-on there to the estate cottages and that. Hampton Lucy, Hampton Lucy, 1 mile, Warwick 6, Wellesbourne 1.5, Stratford 4 3/4. What's it? Charlecote. Charlotte, whatever. There we go, I'm pronouncing it wrong. And down here is where we're going next. It can get very damp down here. It can get flooded is what I'm saying. So I have to be a bit careful. And it does go, it is a lane. There's a lovely house here with a, well, you'll see a lovely thatched house. Right, I'm just going to get my book out and check my route. Out for now. And have a look at that house. Yeah, just had a check on my route. This is what I like. It's a lovely little cottage that's thatched. Nice little oldie worldy thatched cottage. Don't know how that it's new or whether it's, but I like that little. It's like a child's house. It's like a Wendy house more than a proper. Well, you'd have to look inside to see if it's. But it's. That's obviously quite old. But that's lovely there. It's like the size of a garage, but it's a lovely little house. Really nice. Whether it's just a guest room or whether it's yeah, it would make a get. Or whether it's a child's place put up for a child. You know, like the little doll's house for the girl. It'd make an excellent guest house though, guest room. Not big enough to be a room, shower on the back and all that sort of thing. Yeah, maybe a guest room. Lovely place though. Yeah, you gave me that and put me in the middle of nowhere, about a mile from a pub. Middle of nowhere, about a mile from a pub. I'll be quite happy. Right, that's it for now. There's more people out here walking than there is in the town. There's more people out here walking than there is in Wellesbourne. Well, here we are. I've come off that lane and walked through fields, fairly flat, open land. The path's on the, you can see the path easily around the edge of the field. Going down here and then I double back on myself back towards Hampton, Lucy or whatever it's called. But as you can see, an even ground, but only just. And no stress really. This is quite a flat walk. Not like the place I was at a couple of days ago, which was all hills. Anyway, out for now. My legs are feeling okay. Talked to a local girl back there who was on a walk. Yeah, there's a lot of people out walking around that estate back there. This is typical Warwickshire. Oh, well, 5 miles. It's taken me all day to get up and walk 5 miles. Good runners can do 5 miles in half an hour or so. An ordinary jog I would consider 5 miles just a training run. And here I am, but the legs dictate how much I can do and my fitness dictates how much I can do. I've been okay yesterday. Yeah. I've done this anyway. I've kept it up. It's not sparkling success. You know, it hasn't been a complete transformation or anything. Well, it has in terms of fitness. But what it has done is it's allowed me to get back on my feet, get myself going again. I'm still going in the right direction, is the thing. Even though, yeah, it's probably good that the pubs are closed, because I'm fairly certain on 1 or 2 occasions that I got to the pub, had a few beers and then got a taxi back to where I was staying. But hey, it's done. I'm just plodding on today. Plodding on. It's a walking pace. some of these people who are out walking are doing the speed or putting the effort in, you know, trying to cover the ground. But I'm just strolling as if I was strolling around shops. Anyway, out for now. Well, I don't know, but I think they're Canadians, aren't they? Hey? I think they're Canadians. Over here stealing the food out of the mouths of the poor working class oppressed Britons, hey? Flying over here, stealing our food and then shooting off back to Canada. Outrageous. I think they're Canadian geese, aren't they? I know that they do get a lot of Canadian geese come over. Canada geese. Canada geese, I think. Not Canadian, Canada geese, they call them. Anyway, there you go. Oh, they're there because there's a pond here. I'll keep moving on in case they've got some. I'll keep moving on. Yeah, there's a pond there. They're probably nesting around here somewhere. Anyway, out for now. So here we are. It's got a bit, but I'm in the windiest part of where I could be, and I've did a few fields going away from the lane, and then turned back myself, and I'm going towards Hampton Lucy. I'm just walking along the fields here. I believe there's a river. The river is over there, and that is a mill, and then beyond there obviously you can see the church. I'm going to go and have a sit down there prior to my walk back towards Wellesbourne. It's beautiful. If this was a nice summer's day and everywhere was open, you could have got up in the morning, had your breakfast in the King's Head, then maybe walk down to the Pheasant, which is the one in that child cot or whatever it's called, and had a beer there, maybe then done this little bit of a walk, because it's only half a mile, to stretch out that walk to Hampton Lacey, and then have a beer there, then walk back to the Pheasant, have a look around the church, and then walk back to the Pheasant, have another beer, walk back to Wellesbourne. I'm going to stop now because I'm filming, and that'd be nice, a nice beautiful summer's walk. 1, 2, 3, back to the hotel, evening meal and back. I'm going to do that in the future because they got some nice rooms in that hotel. Out for now. Back out here now onto the road. It's a road back to that first town. And this is the road to Hampton Lacey. There's the church there. There's a little river up here. On my right is a watermill, or an old watermill. It's quite blowy here at the moment. I'm just going to go in and have a look and sit down by the church and have a walk around or something. This place floods, as we'll see in a minute. Obviously not this year, not at the moment, but there's a reason that they have those notices there showing you showing the depth of water. There is another way into the village from the Stratford way. This here is I've forgotten the name of it now, but it's the river of Stratford. Follow this down, it'll go into Stratford. Oh no, it's not. I lied to you. The far one between those trees is the one that goes to Stratford. This, I believe, is the store, the Dean still. Somewhere around here they all come together and then they carry on down towards Stratford-on-Avon. So it's the far one, you can just see it through the trees. Out for now. So here we are. This is the actual river that goes into Stratford-on-Avon. As you can see, a little bit wider than the mighty Dean there in Wellesbourne. And I think that's where that river, the two rivers join. Either that other river across back there, the little bridge, that joins it over there, and they flow on down into Stratford-on-Avon. The thing about round here is it used to flood back in the day. So some of these villages, you'll find that they have different names on each side of the river. And that would be because part of the year when they had no bridge, you know, you couldn't cross over. I mean, if you look down there, I'd say that was fordable there, which is probably why this bridge is here. I would say when the river's low, that's fordable, because it looks to me like a ford I know elsewhere. It's stony. Yeah, you could walk across it and you roll your trousers up, you know, when it's quiet in the summer. But if it was really wet winters, they wouldn't be able to, you'd have to go a good few miles. You know, there you go, a bit of history cast by the Horsley Company and funded by the rector of the parish, the Reverend John Lucy, 1829. Yeah, but if you were in some of these villages, if the river went through the middle of it, part of the year you wouldn't be able to get across the road. Same in France, till the bridges came. Stone bridges were very, very important in the medieval period. Very, very important because of all the mud and you know, in bad weather the roads just disappeared into a sea of mud. Ask the Germans about it. No, I shouldn't say that. Seas of mud. No. In the winter time, the roadways have disappeared into seas of mud. You know. Anyway, out for now. So there's the pub, the Boar's Head, in Hammerston Lacey. There's the pub, the Boar's Head, where you can get a beer and you can have something to eat on a good day. And we haven't got the China virus. Isn't attacking us. China. And here's the church. What I'm looking for is a seat. I just want to sit down for a bit. Or a low wall or a seat. It's a primary school. Kids are in there today, or there's some kids playing in there anyway. There's a seat in the church. Yeah, I've had a meal in there, it's not too bad. Nice little pub. Nice place to have a meal and a beer on a summer's day. And I haven't had a look round the churchyard here. But today I'm not too sure whether I am going to or not. Because first of all, my legs. Oh dear. First of all, my legs are starting to ache a little bit again, showing that I'm still not fully back to normal. And there's a car there, but I don't think the church will be open, it's closed. Yeah. I'm just going to go in here and have a sit down on the steps because there's less bird poo on the steps. Ugh. Quite a formidable door, that. Somebody must have had a few bob when they were putting that up. Might be worth coming round here and having a look at it. That's it for now. Out. I'm now back at Charles Cotts or whatever. The Pheasant. Have walked back down. It's a walk on the road. And according to my route plan, I'm going to walk down here and do a 1/4 mile diversion up to where the mighty River Dean joins the mighty River Avon. I might do it. It's a 1/4 mile there and 1/4 mile back. But that's it. I just walked back from the church in Hampton Lacey back to this village. Now I'm going to cross over a bridge, and then go and walk towards the big house, but away from it, and then walk back to Wellsbourne. Out for now. Starting to get a bit chilly. Out. Well, this is where my route changes and I go back. So, according to the route that I'm walking, according to the book that I'm using to guide me on my walks, that's the house there, apparently owned by the same family since 12 something or other, 12th century. Proof, if anything, that if you don't give the idiot's son the inheritance, you can keep your money. Don't get involved in politics, probably somewhere in there as well. That's built in the 16th century, that house. It looks older, but it's built in the 16th century. Over there, where that bridge is, and just beyond there, the bridge goes over the River Dean, and down to the left there is the Avon. The confluence of the Avon and the Dean, and that flows down into Stratford. There's a little brook here. So that's that. So now I'm going back to the road and then back to Wellsbourne, and that'll complete my 5 miles, or 5 or 6 miles, or whatever it was that I said I was going to do. Anyway, there we go. Well, I'm back now. That's a little way in there into that estate for my my little diversion to have a look at the house from a different angle. Yeah, Lacey family, I think it is, owned that since 1240 something. So like I say, they've obviously been able to keep hold of their money, haven't they? Don't let the idiot son inherit the money. Marry well. Don't get involved in politics so you don't lose everything to the king in our place, or to the Marxists if you're unfortunate enough to live in the rest of the world. God. Yeah, they took everything, didn't they? The Soviet Union, Eastern Europe, they took everything. Families that had built estates, villages that were sustainable, communities. I mean, obviously there were some aristocrats who were at the same over here, were complete barbarians. The same in France. The difference between Britain and France, one of the things about the reason why they had a revolution in France but not in Britain, is given over to the fact that these big estates, what used to happen in Britain was, the tradition was, if you fell out with the king, right, okay, the king's son, you went to, you had a fallout, you're not trying to kill him or anything, but you don't get on, and you know that if you're up there, all that's going to happen is there's going to be sulking and whatever. In Britain, what you could do without any real hassle was you could return to your estates wherever they were in the British Isles, and you could just say, right, okay, then just going back to the medieval times, I'll just concentrate on building up my estates, and that's it. I'll go up to London when it's a requirement. I won't get under his feet, and I'll keep out of the way. And apparently you could do that over here. And so some of the big estates up north were invested in time and money was invested by the people around them. And they created wealth, and they looked after themselves, and then when eventually the king, of course, will die and the family is still there. But in France, apparently, towards the end, if you were, I remember the infighting and the backbiting and the backstabbing was so bad that if you were an aristocrat and you were not in court, and you were not up there kowtowing to the king, you were going to get libelled and slandered, and you were going to be backstabbed, because they used to, I think they used to have a system where they'd take all the land off you. Over here, even if you were a traitor, quite often the land simply went to another part of the family, or you'd find that a generation later the lands were restored by the king to the next generation, because, you know, the grandsons had proved their loyalty, or there's a new king in town or whatever. But the French couldn't do that, so if you weren't in if you weren't in court, the chances were you were going to be backstabbed, and generally anybody you had any reason to have a go at you would be, you have the ear of the king, and you had to be there to fight your corner. As a result, apparently, this is something, I got this from somewhere, I can't remember what the book, where I got this from, but you had to stay up in the court, and when you were in the court you had to keep up with whatever lunacy was going on, you know, a bit like the way we're having problems at the moment with our little culture war going on. If you wanted to keep your head down, you keep your head down and you keep up with the lunacy and try to avoid getting involved in it. Well, this is what you had to do in France, in the court. But quite often that meant that you weren't at home, so your estates were, if you didn't have good people, your estates were neglected. And you didn't have your ear to the ground about what was going on. And so eventually, that combined with a lot of other stuff, meant that they were ignorant of what was going on outside of the court, if you see what I mean. They were in their own little bubble, whether it's a Westminster bubble, a Washington bubble, Kremlin bubble, or whatever the hell the Chinese call it, Heavenly Palace bubble, or whatever it is they have over there. Ooh, somebody landed. An airfield nearby. And they've been in their bubble, and that helped fuel the French Revolution. You see, the poor thing that, you know, of course, when they came for the aristocrats, they came for all of them, good and bad. They all went. But over in Britain, apparently that neglect of the estates didn't happen to the same extent. That, I believe, is one reason why we never had the big revolutions over here that the French had. People were careful. I think people like the family back there, they know which side of their bread is buttered, and they also know that they have to have, if you alienate and annoy a lot of people, even if they are peasants, you know, it's going to end up in tears. They obviously haven't. Anyway, there you go. This is now the river there. This is the path back to Wellesbourne. All I do now is follow this path right back to the roadway, and then through that out by the church and back to where I started. Out for now. Well, this is the pathway back along the mighty River Dean, back towards Wellesbourne. Bit muddy in parts. Actually, it's drying up. It's not muddy as such. I imagine if it's been raining, it will be quite muddy. Today it's loose underfoot. You can see the mud there, but it's been dried out a bit. But it's easily marked with a fence. Bit of a smell here because there's a sewage treatment place, a little one somewhere along here. And that's it, really. It's a nice, oh, lots of wind. It's a nice walk. Can't see the river all the time. Banks are quite steep. You know? The banks are quite steep. And I'll just follow this back to Wellesbourne, to the road, the bypass there. It's very windy at the moment, just in this spot. And then that's it. Out for now. Well, here we are. You can hear the traffic in the background. Walk past the water treatment plant, they call it. Sewage work is what it actually is. Bit obvious what it is. That's the road, which is the bypass to Wellesbourne. My legs are they're aching, and they're all, for such a short walk, for an ordinary person it would be, but the legs are, yeah, they're aching, and they're not very happy. Boots have been okay, a bit heavier. Here I am now. I'm looking for the river to pass underneath this road, and then I'm back to Wellesbourne, and only about 100 yards from the church. Yeah. Till the spring's come in the summer. It's been a nice day. I didn't wear a jumper or anything. It's been pretty good. I'm still quite hot. With just got 2 t-shirts on, one long sleeve and an ordinary t-shirt on top of it, and my jacket, which is sleeveless jacket just for the pockets for the phones and stuff, so I don't have to keep going in and out of the bag all the time. But yeah, it's still, the legs are still here telling me, you know, you're carrying too much weight. We're still not really fit. But they're doing it. They don't like it, but they're doing it. And that's all I can hope for. There you go, the mighty River Dean on a quiet day. But it's doing it. It's they're taking me where I want to go. They're complaining about it, but they're doing it. Yeah. So as a walk, well, I've ticked the box there. For a summer's walk to the pub and to have something to eat, that'd be okay. This path here, walk this path down the opposite direction from here, from Wellesbourne to the town, the little village back there, and then go to the pub, and then have have a beer there, and then go on to Hampton Lacey, and then have a pint and a meal there, and then walk back. That would fill in a good summer's afternoon. But there we go. Right, somewhere around here now. I should be able to make my way back to the church. Right, I'm just going to go out of here for now. I find it a bit difficult to do both. Out for now. Here we are, crossing the river and back into Wellesbourne. I'm in Wellesbourne now. The church is just around the corner. Well, I must say, at the moment, I'm just slogging along, 1 foot at a time. I'm not exactly a bundle of joy. Ooh. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, I'm not exactly a bundle of joy and happiness. Looking forward and just plodding along, because until I get there, I'm not going to get there. It's quite often on these walks, knowing what time it is irrelevant to you really, or how long you've done, because at the moment nowhere is open. So you're not going anywhere, are you? So just plodding along to get to the end. Yeah, legs are aching, and I'm doing it because I have to do it. That's it. Yeah, the legs are, yeah, they're not, yeah, it's not improving as much as I would like. By now I was hoping I'd be able to walk this and increase the distances, but today still aching and not stiff. I wonder if it might be because I've got the boots on. It can't make all that difference though, can it? And back to the church. Yeah, my get up and go has got up and gone. My enthusiasm, I left it back there about a mile ago, and it became a plod. Never mind. But it's done, and I'll be better for having done it. I may not feel like I'm better for having done it, but in the long term I will be. I looked at an app on the phone there, and it said 5 miles was eating up about 1,200 calories or something like that. I didn't pay too much. Oh, there's something here. $16.99. 23 years. $16.99. 1704. Hey. Anyway, that's that done.